Joan Lehr, 824 Woodbine Court. I'm also a business owner in town, so I have a lot at stake for what this council does. I'm going to tell you what I've told, and Erica just said it, told every council when they come in. You're elected by people that like you, your friends, who don't realize what's really going on in the council meeting. But you're here to serve all, especially when votes are as tight as they were. The lies that are told during the election need to stop. Unfortunately, Councilmember Nett, you're being chosen because you did. You put it out. It's on your website that you were planning on resigning if you won. And those are the words that you used to other people. If not the words, they were the intent that everyone heard. Getting elected is not the big job. People spend all this time to get elected. The big job is working with each other. 4 people do not run this town of 9,000 plus. And that's what you guys are doing behind closed doors. It's unethical, it's illegal, even if it's just one person talking to one person. I served on council for 8 years. Somebody said to me one day, "You always vote together." Well, we actually held meetings. We had a finance committee, we had a safety committee, we had all sorts of committees that had 2 council members, a staff member, and usually 3 members of the community. So we always knew what the members of the community were thinking. And those people were chosen, they volunteered. It was a very different process than what you've got today. Anybody could come to those meetings, and anybody could speak at those meetings. And then when we got back to the council, and just 7 of us sitting up here, we had a report, we had a staff report, and we had a council report of what the people in the town were looking for. That's missing today. I watch Erin talk. She's very involved in the Business Association. I watch Caleb and Kevin talk to people all over town. I'm not seeing that. I had a conversation with Susan the other day, Councilmember Khalil, and I'm hoping that she will see some things that she needs. I'm going to ask all of you, how many of you have read the town charter? How many of you read the zoning ordinances? How many of you know what your requirements are as a council member? I unfortunately agree that your choice for your interim town manager was a big mistake. Firing Rick was a big mistake. He came in and took this town and got respect for the employees, and the respect was coming because the previous councils did not respect, and that was under the leadership of Mayor Frazier. So, and I served with him for 2 years, and the respect was not necessarily there. So I ask that you all think of what you're doing and do the best for the town. But 4 of you can't run it. You need to talk to each other, and the 4 of you are not speaking to anybody else. Joan Lehr, 824 Woodbine. I'm also a business owner in town, and I, as you know, was past council member, past planning commissioner, and I've never seen anything like what I see here. You guys don't even include other people. You're going to walk out while I'm talking? It appears that Purcellville residents don't feel like they're being heard. Many have stated to me, and they're sorry they put the town in this position by voting for Berteau, Nett, and Khalil. The group of 4, or maybe 5 if we want to include Frazier, who believe they know what they're doing, and it's clear that they do not. You are a legislative body. You do not manage town staff. Read the town charter, read the past minutes, understand decisions. Reading the zoning staffing reports, read the ethics code and the committees, commissions, boards, and the town council's ethics code. We also appear to have a town attorney that does not understand the law. Ethics aside, votes to terminate Rick and hire Frazier were illegal votes. Nett should have been required to recuse himself, as his position is in the direct line of the town manager and the interim town manager. He even states that he's in that direct line when he answered the Loudoun Times-Mirror. The band of 4 or 5 are trying to take over the town. They fire someone that was consistently working to make the town a better place, and the person that showed our town staff respect for their knowledge and tenure. They hired Frazier, made bad decisions as a mayor, will continue to do that. He's the kingpin because nobody else up here, he's at least got some brain in his head. Tonight, I ask that Ben Nett and Kwesi Frazier resign their respective positions. Nett for being found by an outside investigation, Commonwealth attorney, for significant issues in truthfulness and integrity. Do you want someone who has those issues to be taking care of our town business? For Frazier, you were put in the position with an illegal vote and has none of the qualifications for the position. Now that his council team have voted to change the qualifications and say that the sitting town manager is qualified, that again should be dealt with by the town attorney. Ethics aside, again,
thank you.
Placing your unqualified friend and
Pardon me,
campaign
your
supporter
time is up.
in a salaried position has some legal repercussions. Hi, Joan Lehr, 824 Woodbine Court, and also a business owner here in town. I spent 8 years sitting where you sit, and let me tell you something. If we did what you did, this town would have been gone years ago. You're elected by the people, and you keep talking about it. They elected us. But the people are questioning why they voted for you. The platform, lower water bills by 50% day one. That's what was said when you walked the streets. And we'll be a transparent council. Well, the water bills cannot be lowered 50%. I'm not even going to tell you that you are. And the 10% you're talking about is going to save households anywhere from $150 to $500 a year. I think the police station is worth a whole lot more than that. The word transparency is not even in your vocabulary. Nothing that you've done since you've been here is transparent. You did not say you were going to fire the town manager and put your cohort in the position, even though he had no qualifications, until you voted to change the qualifications. You did not tell them that you had a plan to make Nett police chief, which is really what the plan was behind closed doors. You did not say that you were going to disband the police department, but you did that after you needed retaliation for Nett's being fired. The votes that you made for these things were unethical, if not illegal. The attorney should be fully aware of conflict of interest issues as they impacted his career at a point. A person, an employee in a direct line of position should recuse himself or herself from discussion and voting on any issue that impacts their line of management or their department. Now you are trying to disband the police department in an amendment to charter. Don't even know the town rules. You have to have a public hearing to make any changes to the code and charter. You just can't just do this without public input. Maybe your attorney should know that too. And you did not, I'm going to keep talking, you did not speak to the Loudoun County Sheriff's Department, yet you said you did, and then Kwesi did not deny what you said that he'd already spoken. Those are two major lies to the public. As a resident, I believe...
Thank you. The next speaker is Heidi Shields.
I believe that the town should consider finding a new
Followed by
attorney.
Katie Copeland.
As you have seen during the meeting, some members of council are not informed about their agenda changes, motions to be read by the Mayberry members. It was clear that the attorney was aware of these changes prior to the meeting, this is the last meeting, and that he's supposed to work for the council as a whole. No communication should go to the council member or town manager without copying the entire council. That was a process we had in place for years. VA rules and professional conduct state that the lawyer should not intentionally prejudice or damage a client during the course of professional relationship. Withholding information from only specific members of council or not responding to specific members of council is against the rules. The residents and the owners of businesses in Purcellville are speaking loudly, and they want a fresh start. They want the council members that will work together,
Can you
discuss
please
issues.
allow the next speaker
Okay.
to approach the podium?
Bottom line is resign, because the courts are going to take the next step, and it's not going to be fun. Hi, my name is Joan Lehr, 824 Woodbine Court. I'm also a business owner, 198B North 21st Street. I'm going to start with the business. The Main Street program is important. To grow revenue in this town, you need to have a 30% business contribution. Otherwise, it doesn't work. I spent 8 years on council. We had it up to 28% at one point. I think it's back down to 18 or 19. That's revenue. That's people bringing people into town. That's the people that volunteer for all the town events that bring new people into town. That's the businesses that use water, your restaurants. This Main Street program helps the town. It's not just for me, for Amanda, for the other businesses in town. It's for the town and the residents of the town. Y'all, I say it every time I'm up here, you were elected to serve everyone. Everyone means all the residents, but everyone includes the businesses. We pay taxes too. I might live and work in town, but the rest of the businesses that don't also pay taxes, and they need to be respected, unlike how previous mayors disrespected the Business Association and some other things that have gone on. So I'm going to switch now to the budget, because if you don't keep the Main Street program, you're not helping the businesses help the town. If you keep the Main Street program, maybe you can find some better ways to look at the budget, but please do not take away an economic development person. We used to have a full person. You're down to a half a person. You need to keep something. And just because he's the one who brought Main Street into the town, maybe that's not, your decision-making seems to be more retaliatory again. Your budget needs to be done by July 1st. That's a legal requirement. And if you don't do what you have to do, then you finally you'll see what happens after that. And you need
Thank you.
I'm going to tell you up front that going to 2 minutes was childish, because you are taking away people's rights to speak. Joan Lehr, 824 Woodbine Court. When I ran in 2016 for mayor, I knew the council had been told year after year, if you don't keep increasing water, the system will go bankrupt in 10 years. Year 10 is next year. Running on increasing utility rates did not win an election, but it was the truth, and if nothing's done now, it will come to pass, and you all will be responsible. Fraser ran for cutting utility rates and getting rid of meals tax. None of that has happened. $12 million he used for Mayfair's utility went to artificially lower rates. Subsidizing is wrong. The utility says it must be self-sufficient. That's part of what it is. Subsidizing utilities with general fund money is like moving money between two businesses or between your business and your personal finances. In the end, both will fail because you will bankrupt both sides. You will bankrupt your utility fund and then lose our credit rating. All future borrowing will cost us more. Our residents are smarter today. 400 showed up to this hall to say, spend the money on our police force, and it's okay to raise utility rates. 1,200 signed recall petitions. Some say they voted for cutting water bills in half, but they have learned the truth. It's not possible without a major increase. Later, $15 to $20 a month is not, an increase in utilities is not going to destroy most household budgets. Everybody else has ideas about putting something in place to help the people that it might. Inflation exists and everything goes up. Remember that our commercial users will be paying the same increase as the residents. Their overall is going to go up probably 10 times what, if you look at your reports, 10 times what the residents is going to go up. Not raising the rates does not make you look good, but it makes you look like financial donors. Yep. You will be remembered for making bad decisions. The next council will have to raise utilities.
The next speaker is Erica Stout, to be followed by Dan Carville.
Taking monies out of general fund and the rainy day fund. Our talking about getting rid of employees that are key to the town is supposed to do for residents. Health, welfare, and safety. Water, business, food.
Thank you. Please yield the floor for the next speaker.
I'm going to finish this because I think it's important. So, if you want to get me out of here, get me out of here. As a council, you're all failing. You destroy the town finances. You will be held personally responsible. You have been given the education by the staff and by your consultants. You will be at fault when this all crashes. So think about what you're doing. Negotiate a budget that is sustainable, but know that people that I've spoken to over the past week say they're embarrassed to have voted for you and wish that you would resign. So I end as each of my talks. You were elected to serve all, not to try to make a name for yourself. You know, now in the streets of Purcellville, I need to tell you, your name is mud. Joan Lehr, 824 Woodbine Court. I'm also a business owner. And I've also sat where you sit. I am at my wit's end watching the idiocy of what's going on up here. That's a good word, too. Okay. You should be embarrassed. You have people that have given you information, and you don't use it. You've decided to do it your way. Well, you voted on multiple items that basically appear to work toward destroying our town. You've got your friend here. He's getting paid big bucks. You've got Nett sitting there. He's making decisions that are not for the town, not what he said he would do when he ran. Berteau, Luke, you guys were here. You knew what the budget was. You couldn't do anything with it 2 years ago. Why would you think you can change it this year, other than to destroy the town? I can't even talk to Susan. When I asked her after she voted for Rick, had she read the town charter, she said it was on her dining room table. So we're all sitting here, we're all trying to make this happen. But the big thing right now is the EDAC committee. And Mayor, you went and you tried to get Planning Commission to agree with you so that it was an easier vote tonight. Well, Planning Commission didn't agree with you. EDAC didn't agree with you, even though the EDAC representative didn't say a word during that meeting. I don't understand. This is important for the businesses of this town. And this town, these businesses, all of us support you. Some support more. Look at somebody like Magnolia's. They support more than maybe a little business like mine. But I support every function that goes on in this town. I sponsor the cannons. We do things for the wine and food. I can't believe. I'm embarrassed to be a citizen that has other citizens vote for me. Well, I wasn't going to speak tonight, but I really can't not speak. You guys are talking about transparency. You spent months putting together a plan to blow up this city, this town, however you want to put it, the first meeting you had. You called a special session, didn't tell the other council members what that special session was going to be about, fired the town manager, went through all of this stuff. That's not how this works. Collaboration. I want to know from each of you how many phone calls and emails you have sent to one of the other 3 council members, or even responded to the other 3 council members. That would be interesting, because I don't think it exists. Now I'm going to take you back to Main Street. Main Street is probably one of the most important programs that we could have had in this town. Carol's a business owner, cannot comprehend why she wouldn't want to be part of it. Go back years. Carol's business had a problem. Their roof went bad. We have all sorts of problems in town, and one of them was our BAR. But Carol appealed the BAR decision that she needed to do something, and the town council together worked with her so something else could get done on her property that would not be outrageously expensive. But she would still get a roof, and we did that. You guys we listened to individual businesses when I sat on council. You guys aren't listening to the entire town. So I've used my 2 minutes. I'm going to say, it'll be interesting how the next couple of weeks happen, because the longer this takes to happen, the more positive the results will be.
Next speaker is Joan Lehr, to be followed by Ryan Jones.
Hi, today I'm going to look at some different things in this town. You guys are looking at your police chief and who you're going to pick. You have, right here in town, someone that was originally hired because she could grow into the police chief position. She took this police department through an awful experience of almost being canceled. She has maintained the morale of this department. She has maintained the community involvement of this department, and she is a special person in Purcellville. It is so much easier to bring someone up from inside than to bring someone new in from the outside, to know our town, to understand our town, and to understand the needs of the residents of the town. So I ask you that as you do this, do what's best for the town. Don't make a decision because it's against what the other side wants. So my other issue is the new zoning ordinance. So I'm sorry I didn't pay as much attention as I should have when this all was going on, but now that I'm looking at it, I see some really major issues and legal issues for the town. The first thing you learn in planning commissioner school is don't spot zone. When I looked at the maps today, I saw spot zoning. There was down zoning and spot zoning in the same areas. That is not good for the town or for the people of the town. I don't know how that all went through without some legal advice, but maybe it had legal advice, and I'm just not sure it was necessarily the correct. We have many places that are now non-conforming in use and non-conforming in FAR. I don't know how the process went, but if every one of those properties has not been notified that that has happened, the process did not go correctly. When we did rezoning back in 2006, everybody who was impacted by the rezoning was notified by mail and in other methods as out in the newspapers. So I don't know that that all happened, but I can say that from what I see, you've put the town in, and the people of the town in a financial responsibility reason if you all wind up getting sued, because it's not out of everybody, each one of your pockets, it's out of all of our pockets. Hi, Joan Lehr, 824 Woodbine Court. I also own Purcellville Copy here in town. I've spoken to you many times, and I'm going to start with what I've started before. You're voted for by people that agree with you. In this case, people that agreed with your lies. You serve the whole town. You do what's best for the town. You asked for a million different pieces from the financial people on water, and no, you did what you wanted to do, and you took the water rates down. So the next council is going to have to raise water rates 40% or more. You spent more money getting different things about water rates than any other council has ever spent, and yet you did nothing that they did. You went to the experts, you went to the Virginia Association of Police Chiefs to find out who would be the right person. Just because she was part of the group that fired Nett does not make her the wrong person. She is the right person for this job. The collusion that I have seen here, I served for 8 years, and we never had the type of relationship that you have had. You don't speak to the other council members. You don't discuss things. When you're asked questions by the citizens from this place, I ask each of you who voted against her last week to give us one reason during your comments tonight, one reason why you voted against her. You won't, because silence is your methodology. You don't respond to emails from town's residents. You don't respond to people asking you questions. You sit there, and then the four of you decide what you want to do, and you just do it. That's collusion. Whether you do it in one room or you do it with one person calling all of you, it doesn't matter. It's collusion. This is supposed to be a transparent operation, and you are not transparent. So I appreciate what some of council does. I know what it's like to sit up there, but I have never in my 8 years worked with people like this. Even when we had disagreements, we discussed them, we came out with answers, and we came back to the citizens, and the citizens were part of our decisions. Okay, so the word of the night is transparency. You ran on it. Minority ran on it. And the mayor tells us that you're transparent because you vote in public. Voting in public is the law. Transparency in politics is something totally different. Transparency in politics means you have conversations in public with other members of council, with residents of the town. You don't stop the residents of the town from speaking. You set things up so that you tell us why you're making a decision you're making, instead of just making it. You have voted on all sorts of things this year, and you have never put out there the reason. I've watched Aaron put up a half-an-hour presentation on finance about water and what we needed to do, and you guys you discussed it behind closed doors, you did what you had to do, and you voted to reduce the water rates. This is not transparency. You tell people you're doing a great job. I'm not sure you all know what your job is. Your job is to take care of the people and the citizens of this town. I'm looking at what's going on down in Richmond, okay? This is a nonpartisan issue in Richmond. They are having discussions, maybe not in public yet, but I think they've had a couple in public, about removing our town charter. Do you have any idea what this town went through to get that charter? No, because you weren't here, and you didn't look at the history. We go back to history. I have a couple of other things that I'm going to put up here, but I will tell you that the town residents are looking forward to the March recall trial, and even more to the November election. These residents of this town have changed who they are. They are now out there looking for facts, looking for knowledge, and they want to know about every candidate before they make a decision. They're not voting for friends anymore, guys. So you need to make some decisions. I'm looking at your 11A, your closed session. I do not understand, based on what I know about closed session, is why that would be closed session. These are things that should be done.
Thank you.
Y'all know my address? 824 Woodbine Court, Purcellville, Virginia, 198B, North 21st Street. Okay, I'm going to take another shot at this, like maybe getting some legal advice for you guys. You have something set up in closed session tonight to discuss the rules and ethics of council. That is not a closed session item. That is done in public. The citizens of this town need to know that. You tell me what in the rules and the ethics of council is for closed session. Closed session is for contracts, for legal advice, for all sorts of other things. If you guys don't know Robert's rules and you all can't decide what has to be done, it sure should not be done in closed session, because this council serves the citizens. I get it. You need to do a contract, you do it in closed session. I will ask that Councilmember Nett recuse himself. It is now totally known that this relationship has gone on for longer, and it's not 20 years that you hadn't talked to each other. It is inappropriate. He helped you get a job, you helped him get a job. Mr. Sabio, I don't know you. I know that you're running for Congress. It is inappropriate within the position you're in to be doing both. I do believe that tonight you ought to bow out and tell them that you're gone. Thursday's your last day. It should not be moved on. Yes, those are legal things. He could actually do that in public now. I spent 8 years sitting where you're sitting. I don't think I ever sat in a meeting like any of the meetings you all have. And we had a lot of discussions and a lot of things that we didn't agree on. But each one of us told the whole council what our reasons were. We're going to cut money. Well, here's where we're going to get what we need. The four of you do not have those conversations. You just make decisions. I haven't heard any of you make a suggestion about revenue, about how to actually make cuts, and how to make the business community a... Joan Lehr, 824 Woodbine Court. You have to look at this from the point of view of what's going to happen in the future. It's wonderful and great to make a campaign promise and say you're not going to raise taxes. Well, if you spend more than you get, you take it out of reserves, and by the end of the next couple of years, we will have no reserves. And when we have the emergency, there'll be nothing there to fix the town. And the 2030 description of no water, no pipes, no roads, no this, no that, becomes real. I can't even say where I think you need to cut, because I tried to cut for years. I spent 8 years trying to cut. And as the town grew, we had to grow, and the staff had to grow. And all of the people that came in and looked at our staff said we were lean and mean. And I think we still are. And matter of fact, the office is closed. So I came by at 3 o'clock to pay my water bill, but the office is closed at 3 o'clock because we don't have enough staff. That's not fair to the residents of the town. The office is here for us to be able to come in and do our business. And I was paying two bills, a business bill and a residential bill. So, yes, as much as I don't want to pay more taxes, we need to increase. And you have to look at what's the max that you think that can be done and the residents can done. I don't know that you can go to 22, but I sure know you can go way above 19. So that's my opinion of the day, but otherwise you're going to be in trouble. Hi, so tonight I decided to talk about respect, talk about leadership. So focus on the we, not the I. Do the right thing, even if it's not your idea. Raise the damn rates. We need to be able to live in this town in 10 years, in 20 years, in 30 years. My assumption is most of you will be gone from this town because it'll be such a disaster. Listen to others. I agree with them. You guys, none of you listen. I've got 4 people looking at me. There are 7 of you sitting up there. Accountability. Take responsibility for your decisions. Tell us why you make the decision. That's respecting. That's being transparent. Give credit where credit is due. Angela deserved your thank yous. She didn't get them. You have a clear vision? Well, 4 of you have a very clear vision. How do we destroy Purcellville? That's what you've been working on so hard. That's what the people of the town are saying. And integrity. I have never heard so many lies or misunderstandings, as you might want to call them, as I have from this group. Mr. Sabio, you don't belong here. Sorry, you don't belong in politics either, because a good politician is an honest politician. And if you think sitting there is the best thing for Purcellville, you've lost the whole look at it. I'm going to go back now to, I've got 47 seconds. So, raise the rates. I was on council when we added the meals tax. It was done very specifically because we take care of our roads. VDOT doesn't give us as much money as we need all the time. We do a lot of things. Purcellville is a town of a lot of people coming in. The thought process at that point was that meals tax covered the extra things that had to be done because of the extra people coming to town, and they were paying a percentage of it. So raising the meals tax can hurt your restaurants, definitely hurt the catering from those restaurants because they're bidding against people that don't have meals tax. So think before you raise that meals tax again. Use the money properly and raise the rates where they need to be.
Thank you.
I usually get up here and speak about actual things that happened years ago, but tonight I'm going to speak out of emotion. I have been in this town for 25 years. I'm a newcomer. I can't believe what some of the old-timers are saying about this council, this Mayberry group. The judicial system may have failed us yesterday, but it didn't. It said guilty. We heard people through the courtroom talk about things that made everybody else guilty too. So, Mayberry, you're really done. And elections do have consequences, and November will have consequences. We will see the people of this town. I've had more people in my business in the last 24 hours telling me how they cannot believe that the four of you are still sitting here. My disappointment and my sadness for what you have done to this town in the last 16 months is incomprehensible. The last thing, taking away the fire department and the emergency squad's money, that money has been going there for years. And I do believe one year somebody tried to take it away while I was on council. We didn't. We didn't do it. We made sure that the people of this town had an organization that wanted to take care of them. Y'all don't care. I looked at everything that's been done in the last 16 months, and the only thing I can tell you, it looks like you're trying to destroy the town of Purcellville. You're not going to make it. The people in this town do not want this town to be destroyed. And I'm so sorry, and many of them are sorry, that they voted for you. So I'm going to put that out there and remind you that what you do has consequences, and there's more legal consequences coming.